Anthropology, to be honest, it's not a very difficult subject, but it is a subject that takes a lot of time, or at least takes some time in order for you to get a good understanding. You're not going to become a topper, until you get this conceptual clarity. And, you're going to become a topper soon if you have this. You should be able to understand why they said it, in what context they said it, what is the problem that they were addressing, what does the theory basically explain, where does it basically work, where does it kind of fail. This slide is actually the heart of this entire course. Right? There is a sequence that, kind of works. Because this is how I want you to prepare anthropology. The one that I'm really proud of, and something only I can personally say, is my students who do it, is that, most of the people who are in Labasna, right, and they have, cleared in their very first attempt, वो generally मेरे students होते हैं. अगर आपका foundation, अगर आपका base जो है, it is strong enough, if you understand the subject really well, and आपके पीछे, you're backed with a good amount of answer writing volume, right? आप जब exam enter कर रहे हो, right, you're basically walking into that exam in a very different mode, in comparison to your competitors. जब आपका mains finally आएगा, right, I do not want you to be discovering anthropology at that particular stage. You should already have a style of writing. You have 3 different versions that are available at Sarthi, right? So you have the base, you have the pro, you have the prime. The idea is simple: different students who need different levels of support. Hello everyone, my name is Nataraj. I'm anthropology faculty here at Sarthi IAS. I hope all of you are doing well. We are starting our Anthropology Foundation Batch for UPSC CSE 2027. Those of you who are attempting in 2027. It's beginning on the 14th of August of 2026 this year. So 14th of August. And if you're planning to take anthropology, there is one thing that I want you to understand right at the beginning here. Anthropology, to be honest, it's not a very difficult subject, but it is a subject that takes a lot of time, or at least takes some time in order for you to get a good understanding, right? A proper sort of understanding of it. Initially, you have to learn the concepts, then the theories, then the scholars of the discipline. But gradually, you have to start seeing how all of these actually fit together. And you need to develop an anthropological lens. You should be able to, look at the world from an anthropological lens. You have to be able to look at a question. You have to be able to break it apart. You have to bring the right theory. You have to be able to construct an argument. You have to challenge another argument and finally convert all of that into a good quality answer. That ability, jo hai, it does not suddenly appear, before your mains or before your exam. It is something that has to be built gradually. And that is really the purpose of, the foundation course that we have here. Not merely to just finish the anthropology syllabus, right? Of course, syllabus is everything to us. We have to ensure that we go through every word of that syllabus. Because questions bante to aapke syllabus se hi hai. Not just, areas of the syllabus jahan se questions aate hain, but the entire syllabus. But beyond the syllabus, we intend to build such a strong base that later, when mains comes, you have confidence and good control over the subject. Let me show you how we will build that. First, if you can see here, right, you have 3 different versions that are available at Sarthi, right? So you have the base, you have the pro, you have the prime. The idea is simple, right? So you have different students who need different levels of support. So you can choose whatever works best for you, but I'll just quickly explain what are the different ones, right? So base, agar aap dekhoge, in base you get the core anthropology foundation. So you do get all the live lectures, you get the PDF material, dictation, doubt resolution, the class ke PYQ ka discussions that we do extensively, right? You will get all of this. But if your requirement is primarily to build the subject properly from scratch, the base version, it is going to give you this. Then comes the pro wala version, right? So the pro is the second one, right? Pro contains everything that your base contains, but we also add a couple of other important things. 2 very important things are being added here. One is going to be your live answer writing, and then the complete test series and 14 tests, with evaluation, right? Because after understanding the subject, the next step is to learn to express that kind of understanding. And the last one that you're going to have is going to be the prime. Prime contains everything that you have in base and pro, plus one-to-one mentorship directly with me. I'm going to be your mentor. So what we're going to have here is frequent personal, maybe Zoom interactions, where we can discuss your preparation, your answer writing, your progress, where exactly are you getting stuck, and so on. So sometimes students do not need, more material or anything, right? They simply need a little more of a personal attention, personal direction, more accountability, and occasionally a little bit of a push, motivation, and so on. So if you feel you need that, then you can choose prime. And for anthropology, I will be personally, I will be your mentor. ठीक है, so directly faculty is going to be the mentor. There's nobody else. ठीक है, and there is no one package that everybody must take. ठीक है, understand what is your need and choose the version that is going to take you close to your destination the quickest for you. ठीक है, and based on that, choose whatever works best for you. Okay, what are the features of this particular course? See, let's understand what we actually do inside the course, right? The first 6 features jo hai, this basically is included. All these 6 are included in your base cover version, right? We'll go through each of these. Pehla wala is going to be your live lectures, okay? Live lectures. So, we have classes every morning, right? So we cover your entire syllabus of your paper 1, entire syllabus of your paper 2 comprehensively, okay? And coverage alone is not the objective, right? That brings us to the second element, which is your study material, right? Unique, structured, updated, okay, and manageable kind of material that is very much aligned with what is the needs of UPSC in today's time period. Okay, and in sync with what we discuss in class. Okay, then comes probably the most important part, conceptual clarity, because you're not going to become a topper until you get this conceptual clarity, and you're going to become a topper soon if you have this, right? So I do not want you simply remembering what Malinowski said or what Ratcliffe Brown said, for example, right? You should be able to understand why they said it. Okay, in what context they said it, what is the problem that they were addressing, okay, what is the theory basically explain, where does it basically work, where does it kind of fail, okay, can another scholar kind of challenge the argument made by these kind of scholars? This is your, your conceptual clarity. Okay, that is when anthropology becomes a lot more interesting. And that is when your answers also start becoming different in comparison to the rest of your competitors. Okay, anthro is one of those subjects jahan pe, it is very much linked with what is happening around you, right? It is the way of studying society. It's a way of humans, right? So humans live on a daily basis, right? This current affairs is going to be that you learn to apply, these concepts and theories and frameworks to whatever kind of issues that are happening, whether it is contemporary tribal issues, whether it is the health related problems, whether it is technology, whether it's development, whether it is society. Okay, then comes your PYQ, right? PYQ analysis. See, we understand what UPSC repeatedly asks. Okay, how exactly are the questions being framed, and what exactly is the examiner asking from you, or what exactly is the examiner trying to test you. And finally, doubt clearing directly with me, right? So all the 6 components here are part of your base version itself. Okay, now in Pro, we go one level further, right? So you get 2 more things, which is going to be live answer writing sessions. You're going to have 10 plus sessions of your answer writing, live answer writing, jahan pe we'll basically come in, we'll have a timer, we'll give you some questions, we'll try to see what are the different ways in which you can address this particular question, because there's no one size fits all. Okay, you could have multiple different kind of approaches to handle the same kind of question. Okay, so we'll do those, and then you also have a complete 14 test ka ek test series with proper evaluation, answers, everything. Okay, so this ensures that whatever is anthropology that okay, it is also anthropology that is sort of committed to this here, to your memory. Okay, because ultimately you're not going to explain anthropology to the examiner orally, right? So at the end of the day, it has to be something that you have to write it, and writing is a separate skill. How do I introduce? How do I structure? Okay, where does this particular scholar come? Okay, where does this particular diagram come? How do I build an argument? How do I kind of defend this kind of argument? How do I basically take this apart if you ask me to justify it or evaluate it? How do you bring different kind of theoretical lenses into the same answer? Okay, all of these things essentially require a lot of practice. Okay, you're looking at 320 plus kind of marks. And then in Prime, you additionally have the frequent personal mentorship sessions directly with me. Okay, so broadly, आपका base जो है, it is going to help you build that understanding. Pro adds writing and testing, and Prime essentially brings in your, it's adding your personal mentoring by me as well. So choose depending upon what you need. Hope this is kind of clear, so that you have a clear idea. See, how do you build a very strong foundation? Okay, and this slide is actually the heart of this entire course. Right, there is a sequence that kind of works, because this is how I want you to prepare anthropology. Okay, it's a very simple 5-step process. Step 1 is going to be, first thing is going to be coming to class, and generally I say live class is better. Okay, because you don't have to worry about it later. When you're in class, the idea is not what should I study, how do I cram it, and how do I remember it, kya padna hai, right? The idea is essentially how do I build, what exactly is the concept trying to tell me. Okay, build that conceptual clarity. First, understand what is it that we are understanding. Okay, do not immediately think, what is to be memorized or anything. It's more about understanding the concept, understanding the theory, understanding what exactly is a debate. understanding the scholar, what they are trying to say. Step number 2 is, going through the material that we give you, right? So whatever material, whatever dictation, right? Going through it, trying to get a hang of it, getting the skeletal ideas internalized and so on. So class gives you the first understanding, but you reading it after the class is going to give you an understanding of your own, right? So then comes your step number 3, which is going to be, we'll have a lot of these assignments. Most of them are going to be your PYQs itself. And there's a huge answer writing volume. You can see it here, right? So open book assignments honge, right? Where you take a look, think, and then you craft. And something important happens when you start writing answers. Okay? We start writing answers very early. We do not wait for the entire syllabus to be done. Okay? It's going to be, throughout the course, you're going to have a heavy answer writing volume, because writing is itself a method of learning. When I ask you to write an answer, suddenly you realize, I know this topic, but can I actually construct an argument? कैसे बनाएं? ठीक है, how do I make this answer एक descriptive answer से इसको मैं analytical कैसे बनाऊं? ठीक है, वो एक struggle जो आप cross करोगे, that struggle is important, because that is where the real learning happens. ठीक है, any optional is at a master's level. उसको लिखने का एक तरीका है. Developing that के लिए you have to cross that barrier, you have to cross that struggle. Then comes your step number 4, which is, as you write, we'll also basically ask you to simultaneously build short notes and certain other kind of things, because slowly क्या होता है ना, this large anthropology का syllabus जो भी है, okay, because the 5-year syllabus for any optional, right, till master's level, it slowly starts becoming, compact revision material, okay, something that you can go through it in a couple of hours. And finally, step number 5, okay, so depending upon whether you're in pro and prime, so you also have, tests and timed writing and, live answer writing, full papers. So now knowledge starts becoming, literally it's getting converted into proper exam performance, okay, mock exam performance. And just look at this particular photograph here, right? So this is basically the kind of work that you are going to be doing as well. This is something that, some of the other students have actually done. Ye jo stack hai, this is one of my students' writing work. Okay, and that too, if you can see this here, thank you for pushing me to do all this. My writing in last 3 months, sir. Feels very good to see them. I have not done this much writing in last 3 years. Very good kid, but this is the story of most of our students. Okay, there's a lot of writing that is involved in this particular program, because writing is something, uska substitute nahi hai. This is the kind of writing volume that we are talking about, give or take. But there is one important condition, simply writing hundreds of answers, okay, alone is not going to be, wo improvement nahi banega. You can keep writing the same answer. Let's say it's the bad answer. If you're writing it, you're only writing the same bad answer hundreds of times. Jo bhi aap likhoge, you have to have somebody take a look at it, okay, and suggest improvement. So what changes your preparation, what improves your preparation is writing plus feedback. So whatever you write, okay, I will go through, okay, and I will be able to understand how are you thinking. I can probably help you understand ki matlab this is becoming a little descriptive. Yeah, this is the analytical aspect that you want to bring in. Yeah, matlab, what kind of theoretical lens you're missing. Okay, here you need a better scholar. This example is not doing enough like you think it is. Okay, here you can challenge this particular argument. It's not foolproof. Here you can construct a stronger one like this. And then you write again, and then again, and then again. And that cycle of understanding and then writing and then feedback and course correction, right, again and again. Right? That is what eventually builds that base, right? And after enough of this, something changes, right? जब आप एक question देखोगे उसके बाद वो panic नहीं होता है, ठीक है? Regardless of whether it's a bounce or it's an analytical question, a difficult question does not necessarily matter. You look at that particular question, you understand what exactly is the demand, you know exactly which lens can explain it best or evaluate it best, or examine it best, and you know what argument you are going to make or you want to make, right? And you know how to construct that particular answer, matlab top to bottom. That is what I mean by getting a feel for that particular subject and getting a good hold over the writing that is required for anthropology. This happens over a period of time. Okay, this will happen during your foundation itself. Overall, if you see, results, when you look at these results, look at them from a particular perspective. Okay? So we have some really good results. We have rank number 9, we have rank number 45, 306 marks in Anthro. I think second highest this particular year. Could have done better, but kind of missed up in one of the 20 markers and so on. Rank 64, rank 157. There's so many of these kind of rankers. But the one that I'm really proud of, and something only I can personally say, is my students who do it, is that, most of the people who are in Labasna, right, and they have, cleared in their very first attempt, were generally mere students hote. Okay, 90% of the ranks that you see here are students who have taken only one mains or one particular mains with me, right? Okay, Aditya was my student for 3 years. Apart from Aditya, everybody else that you see here either have cleared in their very first mains or very first mains with me. So they're all young kids clearing. And you will see this pattern very consistently amongst my students. Okay? You know, we're not the kind of ones who want to take 3 mains, 4 mains, years trying to figure out, you know, how anthropology works, how marking works. Okay? You know, learning from experience. Okay? You just don't have to learn from, you know, your own kind of mistakes. Right? Many of them are basically getting marks in their very first mains. Okay? And a very strong reason for, you know, getting a good rank is your optional. Optional plays a very important role. Okay? And for many of them, it is anthropology that has really catapulted them to the top. And this is important. Okay? Because it tells you that it is absolutely possible. अगर आपका foundation, अगर आपका base जो है, it is strong enough, if you understand the subject really well, okay, and आपके पीछे, you know, you're backed with a good amount of answer writing volume, right? आप जब exam enter कर रहे हो, right, you're basically walking into that exam in a very different mode, okay, in comparison to your competitors. You don't feel like you're a first time mains writer anymore. Okay? You might be writing your first UPSC mains, but that's not, you know, you're going to be walking in with the feeling that, you know, I have done this hundreds of times. I've done this again and again and again. Okay? That is the advantage that I want you to build. So overall, in order to conclude, okay, see, let me end with this. जब आपका mains finally आएगा, right? I do not want you to be discovering anthropology at that particular stage. Okay? You should already have a style of writing. You should already know how you write answers. By then, the subject should already feel like your subject. Really possible है, ठीक है? Concepts जो है, it has to be very clear. Theories जो है, it should be very familiar कि which one in which particular context. The scholar should have that particular context. आपका notes जो है, it should be relatively condensed. And you should know how to apply different sort of theoretical lens in different context. You should know argument कैसे construct करना है. अगर एक argument है, उसको कैसे challenge करना है. How do you connect different kind of ideas and different kind of modules. And most importantly, you should also have a good degree, a very large volume of writing that is behind you, because उसका एक confidence जो बनता है ना, ठीक है, nobody can give that. Writing that has not simply been done, ठीक है, but has been read, it has been corrected, and you know, feedback has been given, और उसको आपने improve किया है through subsequent answers. That is what this foundation में हम करेंगे. Because once आपका foundation strong है, वो confidence जो है, वो control जो है, वो hold जो है, it's natural, right? That is very important. You stop depending on, you know, कि I hope that the paper basically comes in a manner जहाँ पे it is like predictable kind of questions. ठीक है? You stop hoping कि UPSC will give you exactly what you have prepared. आप एक stage पहुँचोगे जहाँ पे you feel even if the questions are unfamiliar, ठीक है? If they're analytical, it's difficult. ठीक है? You still know how to think about them. How do I break down this particular question? How do I connect it back to the syllabus? How do I build an answer? And that is when आप genuinely mains ready हो. So whichever version of this particular course you decide to choose, whether it's base, pro, prime, ठीक है? Keep this larger objective in your mind. ठीक है? It's not just about finishing your optional. ठीक है? आपको build करना है, आपको concepts को build करना है, आपको lens को build करना है, आपको arguments को build करना है, आपको writing को build करना है, and आपको confidence build करना है well before, you know, you go for proper prelims का preparation or mains का preparation. Because na, on the day of that examination, you should not be trying to show that you're good at anthropology. You should actually be very good at anthropology. Okay? And if you want to build that kind of understanding, that kind of writing ability, that kind of volume, that level of control, that kind of hold, under my guidance, come on over. Okay? We are beginning on the 14th of August. Okay? So build that foundation well, give yourself that early advantage. All the very best. I will see you in class. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.